Hi guys, we're in our third lesson for transformations, and we're going to talk about rotations today. So our essential question is how do you complete a rotation? So I'm going to zoom in. This is kind of like last lesson, where we're going to talk about rotations here. If you can see in the middle, our word is rotation. So everything around here is going to talk about rotations. So for rotation, the figure is turned about a fixed point. Okay, so here we go. The rules, and here you probably, for me anyways, it was easier for me to work with the rules than it is to try and figure it out, I guess. There are other ways to work with it, but I think that for me especially, the rules work best. And remember, we talked about clockwise and counterclockwise already in our first lesson on translations. If you don't remember the what they mean, you can look at the glossary at the end of the unit. So here, if I'm going to turn 90 degrees clockwise, and clockwise is turning this way, my rule would be xy goes to y negative x. Okay? And if I'm going to turn 90 degrees counterclockwise, and counterclockwise is this way, my rule becomes xy goes to negative xy. And if I'm turning 180 degrees, and 180 degrees does not matter if I'm turning this way or this way. It doesn't matter because it's 290 degrees put together. So I'm just turning 180 degrees. Here becomes my rule. XY becomes negative X, negative Y. Okay? So I would have those rules written down in a nice little, nice little format. Maybe I'd have my translation rules written down, my reflection rules written down, and now my my rotation rules written down, just to kind of help. So here we go. Rotate the triangle 90 degrees clockwise. So clockwise is going to be this way. I'm going to turn it this way. There we go. So I want A prime. So another way I can look at it other than using the rule is it needs to be 90 degrees. So if I am going from A to my point of origin, by the way, if they don't give me a point to rotate around, I'm rotating around the origin. And I'm going to erase these lines in just a second. But how do I get to A? I go over 2 and up 3. So I'm going to kind of change that. I'm going to change it. I'm going to just flip them, and I'm going to go over 3 and down 2. Because if I draw this line in, oops, not a very straight line, this angle is 90 degrees. So I can think of it that way also, but sometimes that gets a little confusing. So if I do my rule, and my rule says 90 degrees clockwise, which means I'm using this one, my y becomes my x, so that's 3, and my x becomes my y, but I changed the sign, negative 2, and I'm going to go 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And remember, that's where my spot was when I said that we were rotating it, when I was doing the counting. Over 2, up 3, over 3, down 2. Okay? So now we're going to do B, and B prime, we're going to do the same thing, 1, negative 3, right? My y becomes my x, and I change the sign on my x, and it becomes a y. So B is 1, 1, 2, 3. So that's B prime. There we go. And then C becomes C prime, and Y becomes X, so that's 2, and then a negative X, 2, negative 1, 1, 2, and this is C prime. And so I am going to draw this in from C, though. So if I've got this one and this right here, you can see that that's a 90-degree angle, and they've just taken it and rotated it the whole thing around. So my B becomes here, my B's in the lead, and if I rotate it 90 degrees on a circle, and if I had a circle maker, I could put the point here and draw circles, and A prime would be on the same circle, and C prime would be on the same circle, and B prime would be on the same circle. They'd all be on the same circle all the way around. So it's like they make a 3 circles rotating around the center of the the origin, the origin. So now we're going to come over to example 2, and we're going to do the same thing with math, with rectangle MATH. And only we're going to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. So this one I'm going to use this as an example, and that's going to be my rule. So I want M prime. Well, what does it say? Well, it says my y becomes my x, and it's negative. So a -3 becomes a +3, and then x becomes my y, which is -5. So I've got 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's M prime. Okay, and A prime, let's see. So again, it says y, the y becomes my x value, and I change the sign. So that's 3, and then the x becomes my y, 3, -2. So 3, -2, and that's A prime. Okay, and then we've got T prime. T prime is going to be T prime. Let's make sure it's a T prime here. So same thing, the y becomes the x, only it's positive, so that'll be 5, -2. So 3, 4, 5, -2. So that's T prime. And then we've got H prime, which will become 5, -5. And it should be right here, which is H prime. And there's our rectangle. And again, we can draw in the 90 degree right there. So it looks like it's 90 degrees. Okay? Okay, so the next one says rotate 180 degrees. So we're going to rotate 180 degrees, and I'm going to use the rule. What happens to my signs? The x's and y's stay in the same place. They just switch signs. So A prime is become -2, -3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and that is A prime. And then B prime would be -3, -1. 1, 2, 3, -1. So this is B prime. And C prime is going to become -1, -2. So -1, -2, C prime. And as you can see, it's just kind of a continuation from example 1 into the next quadrant, and it's just going in that circle. Okay, nice job, you guys. Okay, so we have a couple more problems to do. Oh, here we go. A couple more examples here. So it says graph and label the preimage, then rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise around the origin. So here we go. Two, -3 is A. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So here's A. Sorry, guys. So A is 2, -3. So this is A. And B is 2, 1. So this is B. And C is -2, -2. So this is C. So there's our triangle. And now we want to find A prime. So A prime, and we're going counterclockwise. So my rule says, I'm going to just write it right up here at the top. My rule says I take X, Y, and it becomes, if I'm going counterclockwise, 90 degrees. Is that what it says? 90 degrees counterclockwise, yep. It becomes negative yx. Okay, so here we go. So y becomes negative, so that's 2, change signs, and x stays the same, so it's 3, 2. 2, 3, 1, 2, right in the middle of the B right there. So that becomes A prime. And then we've got B prime, which is going to be negative y, so that's negative 1, and x, negative 1, 2. So negative 1, 1, 2, B prime. Okay, and then we've got C prime, which is going to be negative y, so that's 2, and negative 2, positive 2, 1, 2, negative 2, C prime. So we've got this, this, and that, and there's my rotation. Okay, nice job, you guys. So for practice 2, again, it says graph and label the preimage, then rotate 180 degrees around the origin. So we've got 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is point E. And then 4, 2 should be point F. And 1, 2, 3 should be point G. So it should look like that. And my rule for 180 degrees should be x, y goes to negative x, negative y. Okay, so we're just going to change the signs for both of them. So that means E prime becomes negative 4, negative 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is E prime. And F prime should become negative 4, negative 2. So negative 4, negative 2 should be F prime. And G prime is going to become negative 1, negative 3. So this is G prime. Okay, that's great. And that's how we rotate. So if I'm going to do my rotations, I'm going to make sure I have my rules written down. And I do want to say this. If they ask me to do, let me just slide this up just a little bit. If they ask me to do 270 degrees clockwise, that's the same as 90 degrees counterclockwise. Because remember, on a clock, it only goes 360 degrees. So if I go 270 degrees one way, it leaves 90 degrees the other way. So you could do a little manipulation that way. So if they ask me to do something 270 degrees clockwise, I can do 90 degrees counterclockwise and get it in the right spot. So I just wanted to throw that out at you. So we will see you for the next lesson. Have a great day. Bye.